Today, our guest is Arlene Pellicane. If we're going to be married, let's enjoy it and let's thrive in it, refine that joy.
Live your faith and pass it on. Share the gospel clear and strong. Stand for, claim your heritage of truth.
Welcome to Heritage of Truth. Today, our guest is Arlene Pellicane. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Jeanne.
She has written a book called 31 Days to Becoming a Happy Wife. Now, you can do that in 31 days?
You've got to start somewhere. So, some, they might feel much better after just a few days. Some might want to read it through for a little bit. But the idea is this is something that's doable. Mm-hmm. And if I say, do this for the next 20 years, a woman might say, I cannot do that for the next 20 years. But could you try these things for 31 days? I can try that. So it's really to give a woman hope that if you are not content with where things are now, there can be change, and this is a way to facilitate that.
Were you a happy wife when this book was birthed?
I was actually a happy wife when the book is birthed. We've been married for 15 years, my husband James and I, and we have been very happily married throughout. And all the normal ups and downs of married life, but for the most part, we've really enjoyed being married. And I think I want to write out of that to help women to say, you know what, this doesn't have to be so dire and so grim, but if we're going to be married, let's enjoy it and let's thrive in it, and really helping women to refine that joy again.
Now, in this book, you talk about becoming a happy wife. Why the word becoming? Seems to be a key word.
Yes. Becoming is to say it's a process. So it's okay. You don't have to pick up the book and then wake up the next morning and be like, whoa, you can become a happy wife. And wherever you're at, you can become more joy-filled. And so this isn't a book to try to turn all the Eeyores of the world into Tiggers, but it's just how can we, in this journey of life, become happier, become more full of joy. And then I also think of the word becoming with the idea of it looks flattering on you, that is becoming on you. And when a woman is happy, when a woman simply even makes a choice to smile, then that already, right, is more becoming. It's more becoming.
Yes.
So any woman can do that. And so it's just this idea of we want to be becoming in our marriage, attractive in our marriage, becoming in the world to see like, hey, marriage is a good thing, and that this is a process of something you can become better at.
Now, in the Bible, it talks about submission.
Yes.
So why don't you speak a little bit to that? I mean, we've got the modern woman just doesn't seem to feel the need to submit a lot of times. Speak to us about how submission fits biblically and what that means in today's world.
Yes. Yeah, it's very interesting because they think, oh, this is so new, but Adam and Eve, she had an issue with this as well, so this is a biblical problem that's been around for a long time. But you look at that Ephesians 5 passage of wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord, and we women say, wait a minute, I don't want to do that, that's uncomfortable because I want my way. But then, there's a few verses to the wives, but then there are many verses, probably 3 times as many verses towards the husband to love their wives. And so I think a wife needs to understand that this is not, the Bible is not talking about just serve your husband as a slave and he was going to hoard over you. But my goodness, the Bible, a biblical way of doing things is for a wife to respect her husband, trust his leadership, be his number one cheerleader, come under him in order. And the husband's job is to love, nourish, cherish, treat her as if she was his own flesh. And of course, he would not want to hurt, his own flesh. So I think if we can embrace that, and even when your husband isn't doing his part of that equation, for you to say, I'll take the first step and I'll yield. And of course, we're not talking about something abusive. We are not talking about something where a woman is voiceless, you can't express your opinion, but we're talking about respect and order. And you think about yielding to oncoming traffic in a freeway, something like this. And when you're yielding to that other car, it's not because, your car is better than my car, but it is to promote order and safety. And when today's modern wife says, honey, God has you as the leader of our family, and I will respect you, I will listen to what you say, and together as a team, we're going to work But when there's a decision to be made and we're at an impasse, I'm going to lean on you and I'm going to trust you to guide us through this, because there is order, and it's not this constant chaos and constant struggling for control of who's the boss here. And this becomes more challenging. Many times women are bringing home more money than their husbands are, or maybe the husband is out of work for a season, and it can be hard. That's very difficult when the roles are like that. And so even when it's like that, to be able to still see my husband needs to be believed in, and it's biblical to come under him and to let him be the leader of the home, because he's wired for it.
Right. And it's interesting that God tells women to respect their husbands and men to love their wives.
Right.
Because men really have that need for respect.
Right.
And women have a need for love and security.
Yeah, and it's harder for the husband, believe me, when you're whining about something and talking about something he doesn't care about, and he has to love you, listen to you. That's not easy for him either.
Yeah, it is kind of hard if you're not
Right.
you're not even respecting him as a person.
Sure.
And, and whining isn't very respectful to anybody.
Right.
That's a good point. You said that couples need to be more aware of the time they spend together. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
You know, everyone is talking about time. You know, I don't have enough time to do things. And yet we do usually find enough time to, you know, we eat, and we might watch television, and we might play a few video games, and we might do social media, and we might answer our emails, and we might text a friend. So we do have a lot of things that somehow we do find time for. So I think it's very important as a married couple to say, what are the things we're doing proactively to spend time together? Looking at the schedule and saying, okay, we know we're going to have breakfast on Friday together. Or, okay, we know Sunday afternoon we're going to do something fun together. Making those plans in the calendar, because otherwise we tend to waste our time, and then we wonder why we didn't spend time together. Another thing, of course, is electronic media is very pervasive now. It's very time-consuming. It's very distracting. So I know I've spoken to many couples where one of the spouses will say, I wish my other spouse would either stop watching video games or stop playing video games. And then another one will say, I wish my wife was not on Facebook and social media all the time. So really thinking to ourselves, okay, wait a minute, am I connected to all these friends and this network of people? And I'm with my computer, I'm with my phone, with my tablet, but I'm not connected to this spouse that's one wall away from me. And to be able to shut down our devices at a certain time in the evening, perhaps, or to have a one media-free day in the weekend, or one weekend out of the month, but that you do something on purpose to shut out the other things that can be time stealers, and to really spend that time with your spouse instead.
Yeah. There was this idea back several years back where they were saying, oh, it's not the quantity of time, it's the quality of time. And I think quantity is really important too.
I think quantity is very important. So of course quality, sure, make those great memories, make that great connection, but it's time. Spending time, and it is, I think quantity is hugely important, because you could say, well, I gave you 5 minutes, but it was really quality, but they need more. We need more in a relationship to grow closer together and stay constantly connected.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't spend time with the person, you know, I see people in restaurants, they're both on their cell phones.
Right.
It's like, okay, you're out to dinner.
Right, and this is what you're going to do?
you're on this, they're on the cell phone, you know, texting or
they could
checking
possibly
their
be
email.
texting each other. I've had people text the other, please, I'm across the table, could you please stop texting? You know, they text it to them. And it's true, so not to waste that time, and the face-to-face is so important.
And when you're texting, you're not looking into each other's eyes, and the eyes are the window of the soul.
Yeah.
How can you really be intimate with your spouse if you aren't looking into their eyes as you're speaking to them?
It's so true.
Yeah. Well, those are some really good points. Are there any other really significant things that you can think of that you talk about in here that would really help our viewers?
Yeah, I think of the P in happy. One of them is being positive. And there we have something going on where it's okay to bash your husband. It's okay to complain about him. In a social setting with your friends, you could say, oh, he forgot this and he never does this for me. But if you were to praise him, you know, oh, my husband's so faithful. He's such a hard worker. You know, he came home today out of the blue and he took me out to lunch. He's so wonderful. You know, the other one would say, well, that's nice, you know, that's nice for you. And so for this idea of it's okay to talk positively about your marriage. And when someone does that, don't compare yourself and be jealous of that person. Rejoice with that person.
Exactly.
And then you think of something that's positive in your marriage. So I think it's very easy to be negative. And then that negativity just breeds that contempt, and it just feeds on itself. It's very contagious. But if you're positive in your mind and in the words that you say, both to your spouse and to your friends, that makes a huge difference in your marriage.
It does. What you say becomes, I mean, it comes out of your heart, but if you start complaining about something, that feeds itself.
Right.
And then I think it.
And we tell ourselves stories about what happened. So, for instance, I'm not a good house cleaner. So, I mean, I'm not known for that. But I do wash the dishes and make sure that they're out of the sink. So one morning, my husband leaves and he says, well, you wouldn't want to touch the dishes because you're allergic to that. And it just set me off because I thought that's the only one thing I do, right, is those dishes. I was so mad, and he left. And of course, he's not thinking a thing of it, and I'm just so mad, so mad. And so you have a choice there, am I going to be mad all day? He doesn't care. He didn't even really mean it, Am I going to be mad and stew all day? How can my husband be so insensitive? That is the only thing that I do. I work really hard around here. And we tend to think this way. Or am I going to decide to be positive? And I don't sweep it under the rug, because the next time he came through the door, I said, you know what, honey, when you said that comment about the dishes, that really hurt my feelings, because that's really the only thing I do around here. And then we started laughing, and levity and laughing really does help in those times. Yeah. But instead of stewing on it all day and being negative, I made the choice of, I'm just going to let that go, and I'm going to keep going throughout my day. And then when he comes home, I'm going to calmly, tell him. And he said, I'm really sorry, dear. I didn't mean it. I'm really sorry. I was just trying to be funny. And so we can turn little things into big things. And instead of perhaps doing that with the negative, why don't we do that with the positive? If he does this tiny, tiny, tiny nice thing, we just, make it into a big thing and make that the big thing and become more positive in our marriages.
That's a great idea. Really great idea. One of the things that we found in our marriage is a lot of times those kinds of situations, if you would give your spouse the benefit of the doubt and just assume, okay, this is a person who loves me. Yeah. Would he do this on purpose? Right. He must not have meant it that way. Yeah. And so I think if we could remember to do that, they probably didn't mean to hurt us. And so if we remember
flipping that around the same way
that,
you'd want to be given the benefit of the doubt as well.
So I think that would work too. Yes. So what else do you have in here do you have anything specifically for young mothers?
I think the book, it speaks to mothers of all ages, but because my children are younger, they're 4, 7, and 9, and they were a teeny bit younger when I wrote this book. So a young mom will definitely relate to a lot of the stories that I have that are in the book about juggling children and also, having a spouse and what do you do and all these things. So a young mom will certainly benefit from this. But I've also had single women pick up the book and join even a book study. There are discussion questions in the back, and I think very wisely they say, I want to learn. I want to learn more from moms who are, not moms, but wives who are married. Right. And, of course, you don't have to be a mom to enjoy the book. And so for this single woman to read the book and to realize when I become a wife someday, if I do, these are some principles that will guide and help me. And that's really been a blessing to me that single women have enjoyed it as well.
That's good. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. Except that, wouldn't it be a good wedding gift?
It would be a wonderful wedding gift. Yeah, and I actually also have 31 Days to a Happy Husband. So you can give the set, and then it's like a really good wedding gift.
That's fantastic. Did your husband help you write that?
He certainly did. It's written by me, but it's all his ideas of his input on, honey, I'm over here, don't forget about me. So that's it's a great reminder for wives as we get busy not to forget our husbands, and what are those behaviors that we used to do when we were courting and dating, and how can we incorporate that more now and keep dreaming.
Yeah. Where can people find you online?
ArlenePellicane.com.
And you're a speaker too.
And I'm a speaker and an author. I love speaking at events. And 31 Days to Becoming a Happy Wife is available on Amazon and on the online retailers, and of course at the local Christian bookstores.
Yes, and we always encourage people to support our local Christian bookstores.
Yes, absolutely.
So again, it's Arlene Pellicane, Pellicane, and you can find 31 Days to Becoming a Happy Wife, and I hope you will. Thank you.
Fun talking with you.